Hello, this is the Algebra 2 final benchmark review for part 1, and this section has a few questions in it and none of them can use a calculator, so let's get to it. We don't have a lot of time. So it says, what are the zeros of the equation? If it's already factored, what you can do is set each factor equal to 0. This one is linear, so it's going to provide you with one solution, which is 2. This one is quadratic. It will provide you with 2 solutions. You're going to add 9 to both sides, then you're going to take the square root of both sides, and you get positive and negative 3. Because remember, when you take the square root of both sides, you have to put positive and negative. So you need to find the answer that has 2, positive 3, and negative 3, which is question number 1. Okay, so this one is asking which statement is true. So anything to the power of 1/2 is going to be equal to the square root of that. So A is true, B is true, and these are absolute nonsense. So what we have to do is figure out what is false and what is true between A and B. If you take 1/2 and raise it to the power of 1/2, that's going to be 64 to the power of 1/4, which is not what this says. So that's not true, means B is true. The reason why B is true is because 1/2 to the power of 2 is equal to 1, and continuing on, it is also true. Okay, question number 3 is asking what's the inverse of f of x. So I went over here and I wrote it down. First step in finding the inverse is changing f of x to y. After we do that, then we need to flip-flop the x and the y variables. That is what creates the inverse for us. Then I'm going to add 1 to both sides. To get rid of this 1/3, that doesn't look like 1/3, we have to multiply both sides by 3. Whenever you multiply this side by 3, you are going to have to distribute, so that's going to be 3x plus 3. And then to get rid of the square, you have to take the square root of both sides. Now, because of domain issues, that's going to wind up being 3x plus 3. Let's see if I can get rid of anything. It's got to be C. I'm not even paying attention to the rest of it. All of these don't work. Let me explain the second part for those of you who are curious. Remember that anything under the square root has to be either 0 or greater, because you can't take the square root of a negative number. So if you wanted to answer the question about domain, this has to be greater than 0. Just quickly solve for x, divide by 3. So that's basically in words saying that your domain has to be greater than or equal to -1. Question number 4 is a piecewise function. You have to match that to the graph without a calculator. Anything that is just a plain and simple number is a constant. It will be a horizontal line. So I'm going to look to see where a horizontal line is at -4. Yes, 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 no. So D is out. Okay, now it's going to be -4 when x is less than -1. So x is less than -1. Yep, that's still good. Yep, okay. So then I need to look at this one. This one says I have x plus 3. That is going to start when it is greater than -1. Let's just make sure that everything starts. Yes, it does. Okay. First of all, this slope is positive. That means that C is out. This has a negative slope. The only difference between A and B is that this has an open circle. This one has a filled in circle. It will be filled in if it is equal to, so it has to be choice B. Okay, sorry about the formatting on this one. It's got a little extra space here on choice B. You are given a table and you are asked to figure out which statement is true when x is equal to 10. What you need to do is you need to look at the type of function. This is quadratic over here, and this one is exponential. Now, exponential functions, if they grow faster than any other function. So as you can see, each one of these numbers is increasing. This one is also increasing, but this one is going to increase faster. So if you went all the way to where x is equal to 10, which one of these is going to be bigger? This one will be bigger. Therefore, g of x will be bigger than f of x. Which one does that say? G is going to be bigger than this one. They are definitely not going to be equal. This one says the f is greater than g. Nope. Yes, you can absolutely tell the difference, so the answer is C. Since this benchmark is supposed to emulate everything that we have taught you this year, there's going to be some things on your test you haven't seen before. But if you do see a matrix question, a lot of them are kind of intuitive. You can figure them out. So this one says, which matrix best represents the data in the table? Notice how you have 4 rows and 2 columns. Immediately, you want to choose something that has 4 rows and 2 columns. So C is out. If you look at the table, the matrix should match the table exactly. So it should be like 12, 20, 12, 20. See, this one is 20, 12, out. So that's all you got to do. Okay, question number 7 says that if you are multiplying something with the same base, basically you're just going to add the 2 plus 2 plus 2. So it'll be a to the power of 6. So which expression is equivalent to a to the power of 1? You just have to figure out which powers are going to add up to positive 1. So these add up to be -1, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. That's it. That adds up to be positive 1. Everything else does not add up to be 1. And that's it for part 1. And let's go ahead and take a look at part 2.